Hello, everybody.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's dark again because it's cloudy and miserable out.
Yeah, it's rainy today.
But today is this is a fun topic.
Yes,
Because you can see on our desk, on our tabletop, we have a lot going on.
Yes, we do.
And there's going to be a lot of things like in the next, over the next few years. So I'm going to my biggest problem is that I usually try to moderate from my iPad. It's going to be hard because the desktop as a general usually holds my iPad, but maybe I could just leave it on.
You leave it like right down here.
Oh, there we go. Here we go.
Yeah, it's Friday night. I can move this.
Oh, you actually were able to move that. Yeah, you could go put this here. Don't catch yourself looking down there too often.
I know.
Because one of the things she has a habit is noticing all the comments coming
Only
in.
if I see a comment. Hold on, then I'll look.
Yeah, then you'll look.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to read them though.
I know.
But it's a fun, exciting night because we're going to be talking about all things drones tonight.
Yes.
Drones, and if you don't know, I am a pilot. I have a license to fly these little guys here, and I had something reserved, but it kind of wasn't ready for tonight's live, which was I call it the octopus because it was like this huge, and I'm gonna bring it in for it kind of was in storage for a while, but we're gonna get into what's going on, what's happening with drones, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's drones everywhere. There was like something going on the past couple of months with the drones.
Yeah.
Too.
Did you see any?
I did see a few outside my house. Well, maybe one.
There's a lot of things that came out about drones, and obviously if you have questions, I'm licensed to do this. And I can tell you what's going on, what you're seeing up there in the skies, because everybody wants to know, what the heck is going on? And you're going to see it more frequently, because as you know, in time, with drones, what goes on, and we're going to get into the evolution of them, because I've been flying drones for about, so to kind of give you a little insight, this is the first drone, right?
Yes.
This is actually built. This was not like something you could buy. You had to build it, and I'll get into the details of that. But the big thing about drones is you're seeing them everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have some questions prepared, and we'll get into some of them. Does it scare you?
The drones?
Well, now you're around them because 85% of our channel is drones. So if you go onto our YouTube channel, there's enough drones to go around, drone footage.
Yes.
And my entire TikTok channel is dedicated to drones. So, but I've been doing it for about, just to kind of give you an idea, it's about 13 years before even the word drone was even known. And that comes to this little guy over here, which is an interesting story behind this one here. But so anyway, I know you have some questions, and we're going to get to them. Anybody have questions out there about drones, what they're seeing? Because there's some things with each of these I'm going to point out to know exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
So I do have some questions here for you. Sorry, there's so many questions.
There's just so many questions. Pick one, Kerry. What would you really want to know about the evolution of drones?
Yeah, so what advancements in drone technology have had the biggest impact on your work?
Okay, so that's a good one because each of these drones have a capacity. So this one is the oldest. Mm-hmm. This is about 2000. This one here, this guy here, this is a self-made drone. One of the very first drones I've actually made, and I actually had one time it was just an RC helicopter with this drone is 2000, I say about 2011. This was a model, so the pieces came from various other models, and then a camera being pointed in the front. And this is the first one. This is not controlled by GPS. This So the biggest advancement is that GPS was the first big advancement in drones. So this was the first version drone that actually had some GPS, but you still couldn't see where this was going from like the ground.
Okay.
This one you could. It had an uplink. I made an uplink for this one, so you could see it on your iPad, and it had some other crazy things like attached to this particular one. This one was DJI Phantom. This is the first version Phantom drone, which actually has the camera. The camera was placed here. It was a GoPro camera at the time.
Oh, it wasn't like built in.
No, and you didn't even know where you're going. Like now with the drones. Now this is the most current model, the Mavic. So what happens is, like, the changes have been GPS has been the biggest thing. So a lot of them are a lot easier to track, move, get yourself into like an orientation like that you could actually see, and return back to a location where you take off from. This was the first one to implement that. This one you lost. And actually I'd gone through several of these. Yeah, they just kind of, they busted up. And it was a lot of practice for a while, to get like the drone stuff together. But there's a lot of things going on with drones and, technology wise.
Do you notice like any trends with like drones, like being more used?
Yeah, I think the kids love to scare people with drones. I've seen them on, like, guys, you know that you've seen all the footage. Obviously, Facebook has been all over. You can go on Facebook, and there's like a whole entire, like, I see this over my house. You're going to see, there's no doubt about it, you're going to see it. But let me give you some tips as to know, like, it's nothing, and I think the Trump administration just came out and said the drones are part of the FAA. They already know. Oh, the other advancement is these transponders. Each one of these are actually locatable. This one's not. This one's not. This one is no longer in service anymore. This is out of service.
You can't fly it anymore? It
can be flown, but it's not compliant because at the time there was no regulations governing these models. These were not regulated. FAA didn't even have there was nothing. So it was nothing like. Yeah, I mean, you obviously best practices you kind of went by because if you model planes and things like that, you know what to do and what not to do. But there was no this one is on the regulations. This one has a transponder, so they can actually locate this in the sky by a number.
Okay.
So they know that it's me going up into the air or you, if that's the case. And what's going to happen is you'll be able to know that they'll know that this drone is available to the space.
Okay.
But what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Any like trends you find?
The trend is that they're becoming more autonomous. So amongst these drones and they're just becoming. There's regulations that follow each one of these. So you can't really fly drones autonomously. At least not yet. It's not been made ready. But it is happening. So this one here, you could actually create points within a map and it'll actually fly to different locations without any intervention on the person controlling it. You're not allowed to do that by FAA standards. You can't do it. But it is autonomous drones. It's going more to that, especially you see all these swarms. They do shows now. They do all these things. Those are autonomous drones. They actually know where to position themselves in proximity to each other. That is not done by remote control or individuals. That's actually computer programs that run those things.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is that it's made the real estate business. The biggest trend is obviously in the real estate business. And we'll call ourselves the pioneer because this puppy here, some of the first drones that we have, if you go to the YouTube channel, are basically this, they're of this. And the footage is absolutely atrocious as comparison to today where it's you get these smooth, beautiful shots.
Yeah.
This thing is shaky, unstable. I broke a lot of these legs trying to land this thing. Very subjected to wind, not balanced. But we did get so you literally have to fly this for about a half an hour to get maybe about 2 minutes worth of decent footage.
Wow.
If you were lucky. Maybe not even. Maybe in some 30 seconds worth of good footage. But it's so crazy that this puppy right here, and I had the ground station for this is quite large. So I used to have to carry like a big, I had a battery pack and wireless, like range extenders and things like that, which are built into here to kind of give this a little bit more kind of like room to fly. But this thing, and it's funny because it's kind of safe. It's made of styrofoam, but it's horrible for wind. If there was any wind involved with this, it would fly around and flood. And you can see it in the shots because a lot of times the shots are like this, and like the wind is blowing it and it's keeping itself steady by kind of like bending into the wind. But this one here, nothing autonomous about this thing. But the trend has been autonomous drone flight. Shows the military's use them, and I think one of the big things is like what people are actually seeing in the sky. Do you want to know what you're seeing in the sky right now? Kids. That's the trend.
Yeah.
Kids buying drones on, and I'm going to tell you what makes each of these identifiable, right?
Okay.
You know what makes them identifiable? How do you know a drone is actually a drone? Well, maybe even from the ground you're not going to notice it, but there are things in here that actually that are tells. First of all, there's 4 sides to each side. So like this particular one, you're going to see underneath is lights. And guys, if there was anything really, if there's anything really crazy going on with these, like, I don't think they put lights on. This one doesn't have lights. This one actually isn't even FAA compliant. So the lighting on this isn't compliant with FAA guidelines. So you couldn't even, and being that it's over, I gotta get the ounces, but it's like 0.55 ounces. You cannot fly this.
It's too heavy to fly?
It's too heavy to fly, and it's not too heavy to fly. It's too heavy to fly, but it doesn't carry the components that you would need to fly this autonomously, except in like a specific airfield where it's like allowed, or they allow it in advance. But they basically, and to repeat again, you have to have a license to fly these. So some of them fall under recreation, and it's very small, like recreational flyer. And there's just a new thing out today that says the trend has been obviously TikTok and things like that. People using drone for all sorts of things, but
yeah,
but the telltale sign, to get back to the telltale, is the lighting. This is actually FAA compliant. So what it is there's lights on each of the ends of these props. One of the things you can tell distinctly is the white, green, and red lights. If you see white, green, and red lights, chances are you're dealing with a drone that is FAA compliant. Mm-hmm. So most of the stuff that you see out there is actually falls under. So I think but there's kids that have them. Some of them are not. Some of them are, flown recklessly. Some of them are flown without GPS, because if you're using certain kinds of drones, like there are markers, so like you can't fly over military installations automatically. There's actually things built into the GPS systems on the newest drones that don't even allow like you to fly.
It won't like go in that area?
No, it'll block it off. It'll be like a fence. You could shield off.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Shield off. But there's kids that have them, and they don't have their GPS system is not locked into like a compliant app, or the one that takes FAA standards or guidelines into them. So you have people flying them over bases, over bridges. Like there's not, and there's a lot of things you can't do. And people do it anyway. It's hard to regulate because it's like there's too many of them. And it's very hard to kind of like get everybody done this stuff, to comply with the law. But the lights are really to tell, like to say it's compliant. Usually it's probably compliant if you see lights. If you don't see lights, or you see, if you see white, green, and red lights, if you see other lights like blues, those are not allowed to fly at night. You are not allowed to use drones that have like lighting that would alter the left, right, and center communication. So there's kids out there, and if you're out there doing this stuff, and if you're out there trying to scare people off, the problem is that there's people who outfit these with LED lights to try to create like a spectacle. They want people to look in the sky, right? So they'll see like strange blues or like different colored patterns floating up in the air. There's kits that they have for these. They're not allowed. You're not allowed to fly a drone, even though they sell kits for them. You're not allowed to fly it with lights that would otherwise be red, green, distinguishing left, right, and center, and really front. You are not allowed to have lighting on these drones that would alter that. So if you see it out there, if you see something, that's something you should be a little bit concerned with. Not to say that it's dangerous. I'm not to say that it's like nauseous or like bad. I think what you're really gonna say is like, is it legal or not? And you're not really allowed to encroach into the airspace with that in mind. So don't put those lights on those drones, guys. It's so important for people to understand that, like, they could really they could cause that. I mean, there was a California, the firefighters got hit with a drone. People who want to like use it for thrill seeking and go fly around the fires and create a nice viral video for TikTok or whatever else they're doing. Not allowed. You're not supposed to fly into those areas.
Do you notice any more challenges drone pilots face today rather than like a couple of years ago?
Okay, so yeah, public perception is the one, right? So public perception is that this is bad. These are bad. And I've had some incidents where people get aggravated or mad or upset. Privacy incidents, so to kind of put it softly, there is no real, the challenges is more of them in the sky than ever. And there's more awareness than ever. So there's a hypersensitivity to what people are seeing, and you're going to see more of, guys. There's no getting around it, that you're going to get more people who are going to see these things in the sky and probably become more commonplace. But there are some things like people need to understand. You shouldn't be flying over beaches of people or like trying to use this device to track people. And some of these sophisticated ones, like this one here, you could recognize a car and you could follow it.
Wow.
The app itself will allow you to trail people or track people.
So you could like lock something in and it'll...
Yeah, lock you in. So if I said, Kerry, you're going home, I could literally make this drone follow you back to wherever you're going. I mean, there's a range. It's not legal because it's out of the line of sight, but you can use it for, it can be used to track. I think there's probably even more advanced ones now, like military use, that can literally face recognize the person from 5 miles away and easily spot what they're looking for. If I told you the kind of capacity of what you could see through the lens of this, one of the things I avoid doing is, this does have telephoto. I don't use telephoto for the purposes of maintaining people. So meaning I always keep it to flight level where it's obvious to the person that we're not trying to like fly and telephoto into like a window.
Oh my God, man.
Which is, yeah. It's not to say that can't happen. Some of these drones are pretty sophisticated as far as telephoto lenses. And I would be the person to say, if you're looking to protect your privacy from drones or someone using it bad, take even any window of your house and assume that if you could see out of it, you could see in it.
Oh, yeah, so that's definitely a problem.
Yeah, so whatever you're gonna see through a window, and you know, people are used to like, okay, well, at the car level, and that's whether the person's using it is not likely to be a problem. I mean, chances are it's not, or the intent is not there. But I mean, it can be. So you're guided by the same privacy laws. Because here's the difference. I mean, people they're crazy about drones, but like the biggest, is it legal to fly over someone's house? Yes, it is. The airspace over someone's house is absolutely legal and legit. So you cannot regulate what goes on flight-wise over someone's house. So long as you're licensed, so long, and the FAA has a transponder on it. It's just like if you use Google Earth. Mm-hmm. And spot something, you could spot rooftops or whatever, or angles now. They have the 3D thing, right? You can kind of circle around buildings using Google.
Oh,
so
yeah.
basically, the world is kind of now it's an open book. So whatever is exposed basically at the exterior of a house, and I say this with, obviously I'm not giving legal advice. You could pursue it any way you like, but assume the outside of your house, the outer casing or the outer shell of your house is subject to, is not subject to any privacy law. Sorry. If you're outside your house and you're visible from outer space or from the ground, it's basically legal to use a drone to film whatever you like. Yeah, but I mean, you as a drone pilot, you want to be sympathetic to people's. So one of the things I always comply with is making sure we do it during hours that only would kind of coincide with people not being outside at the given moment. Mm-hmm. So very early mornings, even at the crack of sunrise, keeping people safe. But you don't want to run into people on the ground.
No.
Or hit somebody. God forbid something goes wrong. But the big thing about drones is what's going to happen. There's people who are just not smart about what they're doing. And the big problem is, I think, is kids get. I want to see what.
Oh, they said, let's get these guys to 1,000 likes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. But the big thing is drones are the future of, they're the future for sure. And they're going to continue to evolve. And it's a great technology. And if your kids, I always say kids, if there are kids out there, you should really, you should be encouraging them. This is not it's the future. So, and these kinds of talents are probably going to be an in-demand skill set in the future.
Yep.
But the only thing is AI is taking over the world, if you haven't seen. And now drones are being flown by AI. So yeah. I don't know where the future holds for that. And that's for every industry, every job, it's always something right down the road that seems to be overwhelming as far as in terms of just what AI is doing to everything. I mean, you go on. I mean, it goes on and on. Really keep those thumbs up. That's very kind of you. Awesome.
Up to 600.
But we have it. We have it's Realtor, right?
Chaser. I can't read that really. But
you can see who that is. Yeah, it's Chaser the Realtor.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Another Realtor. Do you use a drone?
Chase?
Do you use a drone is the question. Let's see if he actually responds to that. He'd really tap it in here. But the big thing is you guys should know that for real estate people, you have to understand, I want to be clear about the real estate people, it's not for you to go run out and buy a drone and try to do this yourself. You know what? I think I still have the book.
What?
I should just show them. I'm going to step off for a second. I think I still have it.
Anthony's getting a book right now.
The book.
Oh, is this the...
The book. The book of aeronautical knowledge that you have to know for the FAA test. So I always tell people, if you really want to know science you do have to know charts. Lots and lots of charts. And you have to know how not to crash into other planes.
I know, that looks so scary.
Which is an interesting thing because it's like you have to know all this stuff, and being a pilot, that's the challenge. You should know the laws when it comes to this stuff, and you should know how to not directly impact the airspace around you because it's dangerous. I do not.
He said he does not, unless it's a ranch.
Okay. But the big thing is that drones, for real estate business, it's been obviously, we do a phenomenal amount of education using drones. So we get people to understand neighborhoods in ways they never would imagine before.
Yes.
And our YouTube channel is loaded up with them. So you've got a whole bunch of stuff going on with our YouTube channel. But the big thing is that real estate people who are in the business tend to always want to adapt to the newest technology. But the biggest thing is that you have to be licensed. You cannot. It's nice, and if you don't do it, if you run the risk of pretty severe penalties. I think it's $10,000.
Wow.
If I've seen them as much as $75,000 if you don't have a license and you fly one of these and you do it commercially. You could be subjected to, and not to say that they're always going to catch the person who's doing it. The biggest issue is safety, of course. One of the biggest things is you want to be safe. And if the thing, you will, at the speeds that these move at, specifically the newest ones, this one here has the capacity to go at least, I believe it's about 60 miles an hour.
Wow.
60 miles an hour, if you're flying from 400 feet, falling out of the air, you basically, you can kill somebody with one of these or cause some serious damage. And I think it's important to understand that. Not to say that having a license makes you any less or more safe, but I do think that it's you should be aware.
No, you definitely should.
I mean, but you should also be aware of the space that's around you.
Yeah. Do you think AI is going to take over drone, or do you think you still need a human to operate it?
Right now, you need a human to operate. So there's no, at least at this level, so far, they're going to change. They're going to change the laws regarding this. I know it. It's coming. AI will have Amazon. If you don't know, has used this stuff, and it's been kind of stuff for autonomous delivery service. What does it say?
He said it's been fun, guys.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Back to work.
Back to work. All right.
Bye.
I appreciate
Have a good
it.
weekend.
Have a good weekend. So the big thing is that what you want to do is, and for the people who are on Facebook, I see a few people, my thing is that we have a couple who are on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
So know what's going on with drones, and it's gonna be something you're gonna see all the time. Get used to it. There's another question there.
You guys use drones?
Yes, we use drones. I am a pilot.
Yes.
I fly these things around. I've been flying them for a long time. If you missed the earlier part, I'm sure you'll have this up on the full live on YouTube, so you can kind of catch that.
Yeah.
But the big thing is yes, I will. You will. And there's a lot of real estate people on there, and I like to say this again. What you want to pay attention to is you're not allowed. Yes, there's some cheap ones out there, guys. And that's another thing. The cheaper ones are more dangerous than ever because they have some capabilities. They're not as reliable in a lot of cases. I've seen people try to fly them and you wind up in the street or hitting somebody, going through a window and doing something completely. It could be serious business. If you hit somebody.
Yeah, you don't want to hit somebody. So
I'm gonna have Kerry fly a drone maybe right after this.
Oh my God.
We'll put her on.
I don't even know how to play a game in console. I can't even Xbox. I can't drive a car on there. I don't know how to use the buttons.
I've heard you couldn't even drive the car when you step into it. I'm only kidding.
Yeah. No.
You can hit me after. But the big thing is that, guys, it's the future. And, I like to just, because a lot of people, is there another question there?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I mean, kind of like related to what you were gonna say, how they're getting more popular, like real estate, construction, military are now like using drones a lot too. So, which sector do you think has benefited the most from these?
The real estate business is clearly the biggest beneficiary of drone technology. There's no doubt about it, hands down. I think if the one thing that was pushed, it's 90% real estate related. So the business of drones really evolved out of real estate because it gives you a much more clearer. I mean, people used to use Google Earth, and it's a little bit different in terms of like your field of view, and that's like when we talk about like drone footage. When you're taking images from the satellite, it's all about the angle, right? So the angle of a satellite can only catch things at maybe a 45 degree accurately to create a good picture. At least I think they have satellites now that probably could spot you through a window. If you have your window up, they can see you with the satellites they have now. If they really want to track you. I do think it's there. The telephoto lenses on these things are ridiculous. Even at the consumer level, it's almost scary, freaky. The Mavic 3 has like a telephoto lens that literally, you would not know the person, you would not see the drone. And even at like a consumer one like this, you could spot something a good mile away pretty clearly and not have any idea of drones following you at all. It's definitely that. And that's probably where the application, when you say like, what's the other, you talk about military, who's the great, in real estate, or, if you're doing, I know a lot of like field inspectors use them. I know like home inspectors use them to check the roof. Insurance companies hire drone pilots to check your roof now.
Wow. Yeah, I actually saw a video on TikTok of like there was like a lost dog, and they tied some sort of food to the drone, so the dog was following the drone with the food.
People do this stuff.
Yeah, so like it's definitely getting used in like different.
Yeah, you can put it like there's people will use them for good things, funny things, and bad things. But it's like everything else. It's a new technology, and if you haven't seen everything that's gone on today, I guess. But I will say the funniest thing that came out from all the drone stuff is like the people who are filming like airplanes. But the one thing that was really funny was they have like it was cloudy like tonight, right? Mm-hmm. So they take a one of those like 100,000 lumens flashlights and put colors on them and like wave it into the clouds.
Oh my God.
Causing a whole stir in the neighborhood. I was watching this and I'm laughing. I'm saying, people don't even realize what's going on. They're looking at the sky and they're seeing like, oh, what's this flashing light going back across the clouds? Yeah, something's behind it. And it's like, it was just to a point where it's like, it was insane.
No,
it just seems to be, I think it's a news cycle, I'm going to be honest with you. It's like, there always seems to be there's a monthly topic or like a topic of the month. Drones was last month.
Yeah.
Blake Lively's this month.
It's always a big thing.
It's like, you can't go in on TikTok without seeing a video of a drone last month.
Yeah, I know. My TikTok's filled with Blake Lively.
So if you're one of those, you don't, I mean, you can't help but avoid it. It's crazy. It's like, I don't know. Nothing else is happening. So there was drone videos all over it. I don't know. Last month, did you see them?
I saw
like on TikTok, there was like drone videos.
On TikTok, on Facebook, I was seeing a lot, and like the neighbors' Facebook pages.
So if you know who's flying and you say, "Oh, it can be me," I mean, maybe I should announce my flights. But I do think the big thing is that you should be aware that most of the stuff that I saw is probably inconsequential, just like the administration said. There's nothing really in there to worry about. I don't see any problem. I didn't see anything that was really, I did see some illegally lit ones. Like again, I said, do not try to put lights. There's compliance issues. There's supposed to be certain things. You're not supposed to put lights outside of what is recommended by the FAA, a green, a red, and the white light to identify parts of the aircraft that you need to identify as an aircraft, and other aircraft have to identify.
I don't know if this is a silly question, but you could fly drones at night also? Is the
Yes.
the camera quality like good at night? Like I
That's a good question because yeah, I mean, so the modern drones like this one, there's some ones that actually you could actually. So you want to talk about lost pets?
Yeah.
So if you want lost pets in the woods, you could actually use a heat. There's one that actually tracks heat, infrared.
Oh, really?
So you could actually follow like things in the woods, and you could actually track them.
Oh, cool.
Using the heat of their body to kind of follow them around. So
Like
it's good for thermal, right? So the big thing, like with the thermal imaging, is that used for search and rescue. The great part about, let's talk about like that part of the technology. The great part about that is quicker response. You can't get a helicopter up in the air very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They use it for lifeguarding, so that they could patrol beaches at depth, and they could spot. Some of these have dropped rafts, like life preservers, at the people who've had trouble swimming. I think some California beaches, I believe, use drones to drop
the rafts
a life safety
Life
vest. Yeah, so yeah, that's what it is. But it is Jeff for drones. Yeah, we gotta do that. But the big thing is that to know what's going on, you guys really shouldn't worry about too much of anything. It's probably just, it's not the government spying on you. It's probably, you know.
Yeah, when that was first happening, I was scared, and you always said like, "Oh, it's just kids." Like
It's kids.
You were like, "It's nothing serious."
Timu drones. So they go on. Timu has them for $74. They probably last about a week, and they'll probably crash and break into 1,000 pieces. But hopefully, innocuously into the with no consequence. But a lot of stuff I see, I mean, they are smart enough at least to use. They've said they were flying back and forth from like Manasquan on the inlet. They were coming from a ship at sea. You're not getting green, red, and white lights in a triangle formation to say its chances are it's not illegal. I mean, that's the tell. Like if you saw something else besides those three lights, I'd say you're probably maybe you had something, but very rarely you're going to have, especially in a formation that looks, triangular. Every plane has it, and technically, DJI, the company that makes, well, at least these two drones, this isn't FAA compliant lighting because there is no white light on this, but in order for us to, when back in the day, there was no camera on this. This was a camera that was attached. You got to attach a separate camera. This is technically, by most standards, because there's no built-in camera, this is actually remote control. This is an RC with an attached camera. It's not built in. So there's like the difference between a remote control helicopter and a drone, meaning the camera's associated with it. There's no camera. That's one of those funny things about drones. It's really nothing more than remote control helicopter, to be honest with you. But the attachment of a camera changed the technical meaning of it. So that's pretty much it, But I think we're pretty good. I think anybody has a question, but we use this technology at length, so it's important to everybody because I think we want to clear the air with everybody who's wants to know what the hell's going on in the sky.
Yeah.
They see these lights, red, green, and white lights. Probably nothing to worry about.
I didn't know that, so that's good.
So yeah, if you see something else. Or big white flashes, and they should be consistent red, white, and green lights. If you see that consistently, chances are you should be pretty rest assured it's nothing to be scared about. But it does mean you should keep your blinds shut because you don't know. I'm telling you guys, you don't know who could. It's not impossible to like.
You can even hear them sometimes, right? The newer ones.
This one, like this one here is, you can barely hear it. I mean, once you get above maybe about 60 feet, 50 feet, you're basically out of most. You don't really hear too much. And then this is loud as hell. This one is this thing that you can hear.
This one.
This one, this one's kind of like it's such a slow range. It's very hard. The battery life on this. So I used to carry these batteries here. These batteries, basically, they last about 3.5 minutes.
Wow.
And you need like 16 of them just to get like a decent shot.
Oh my god.
So a decent shot of the drone, to get a drone video was maybe about 3 minutes. So 3 minutes on this one. This one moved up to about 11 minutes, and now the newest ones are up to about almost 40 minutes.
Wow.
One battery life. So they've extended the battery life on them, which is good because it won't suddenly crash. There's no safeties on these. If the battery died, there was no advance warning. You had to know when you went up in this one.
Oh, wow.
Now they have a lot of you have a ground station. This one I had none. It was just a controller with nothing. Mm-hmm. You would have to just time it on your watch. You'd have to know that after 10 minutes you set your watch, and you literally have to make sure you came back in 5 minutes, because you would not. This did have like a quirky return to home feature that probably didn't work. These were synonymous with flyaways, and people were saying it didn't work. And this one used 4 GPS signals, and these use about 30, the newest ones. Okay. So, but that's pretty much it. You're safe in the skies, we promise you.
Yes.
With what you see so far. No big alien spaceships. So if you think that the alien spaceships, they're not. They're people being silly, most likely. And again, I'm going to repeat this. If you're doing it for any other reason, even if you're doing it recreationally, now they're going to make rules regarding social media, that you're not even allowed to use videos that are taken from a drone if you're not licensed on social media. So, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. I heard that's the rumor, but you will not see drones. You should, because technically the rule is commercial or promotion. So if you're using it for self-promotion, I guess they entail. It's very hard. It's so many gray areas, but on the safe side, if you crash, they're gonna go the direction of using the hardest law to hurt you with.
Oh my god.
So I would not say that you should crash a drone without, even if you're doing it recreationally, without a license, because you're gonna be in trouble. They're gonna say that it was for this, and they're gonna hit you with a penalty, and I don't know if they'll do jail time, but yeah, I'm not too worried about that. But you're gonna pay probably what's likely to be a stiff fine. Yeah. But have your license if you can do it that way, and that's not easy. I showed you the maps that you need to learn.
Yeah.
You don't run into traffic. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah. It's time for Kerry to go home, and it's been a long day, Lord knows. So if you have questions about how this thing or anything related to that, and if you want to see just some cool stuff, where could they look? On
our YouTube, where Anthony takes a lot of drone footage and
3 years of drone footage.
Yeah, we have a lot of drone footage, so check out
I think
YouTube.
we had 2,000. I don't know, we had about 1,500 videos. I think about 800 of us drone videos.
Yeah, so check those out.
Yes. And we'll see you in a couple of next week for live stats.
Yes.
All right. All right, guys, enjoy your Friday night. Hopefully this puts a little light onto what you're seeing in the skies around your neighborhood. All right, have a great night.
Good night, guys.